Last time on the Ozempic Diaries.
Okay, it's day one, Ozempic. It's Tuesday, May 9th. Very small needle.
So week 2, second dose, I'm at 0.25 milligrams. I actually have to say that my appetite was small today. And it's day 2 after my second Ozempic injection, and I have had 2 coffees so far because I've been up since 4:30. I haven't been able to sleep, and I have had diarrhea 4 times already today.
So I feel like I'm bouncing back physically, but I have been so hungry. So this has really not curbed my appetite at this dose.
Hey everyone, I'm Abbey Sharp. Welcome back to Abby's Kitchen. Today we're going to be catching back up with my friend Ginger on month 2 of our Ozempic journey, talking everything from side effects to stigma to success. A quick disclaimer that this video may include numbers, calories, and extreme weight loss discussions, so please feel free to skip this video if it's not supportive to your journey. Also, please note that the individual in this series is not my client, so any suggestions are for general knowledge only, not specifically directed at her. Everyone's needs are going to be unique and should be discussed one-on-one with your healthcare provider. So to catch us up here, Ginger did a month of 0.25 milligrams. Now she's on 0.5 and is just about to do the 1 milligram dose. So before we bring on Ginger, let's take a look at some of her diaries.
You know, similarly to my journey on the 0.25, when I started 0.5, the first week was okay. The second week was miserable with explosive diarrhea. Case in point, I was playing tennis one night and I couldn't even lift my arms. Like, it was so bad. I had to bolt because I was gonna poop my pants.
I have peed myself more times than I am proud of, #childbirth. But again, I would say this is pretty much to be expected anytime we're titrating up, we're gonna experience more of those side effects. If you're experiencing medication-related diarrhea, I want to share a quick little few tips here. So first of all, lots and lots of water, and in some cases you might want to consider an electrolyte supplement as well. 2, you want to focus on low-fat, low-fiber, starchy binding foods, so things like rice, soda crackers, bread, and unripe bananas. Also, pretty important to avoid or limit stimulants like coffee, though obviously I get, as a fellow coffee addict, this is easier said than done.
Okay, Abby, I'm upping my water intake just for you. I know I'm not drinking enough.
Thank you, Ginger. Amazing. If you take anything away from this video right here, it's that if you're experiencing diarrhea or nausea or both, water's your best friend. Like, all the Ozempic pamphlets that I've read are like, drink lots of fluid. So Ginger, that's gotta be your focus for this week and like every other week in this journey.
I feel like I have some like built-in support. Like, it's like my raw support system, this drug. Like, it's not allowing me to overindulge, and I'm very grateful for that. I would rather go slow. You know, I had a little bit of Chinese food this weekend, and so that didn't really sit really well in my stomach. So note to self, we should all know this: fried food when you're on Ozempic and have your gallbladder removed ain't gonna go so well. So lesson learned, and I gotta up my water. I know that.
So this is all gonna be a process of relearning what feels good to your body. And this is also a transition period where the side effects are typically gonna be the highest. So it's not like Ginger's never gonna be able to have Chinese food again without feeling sick. But once she gets to her active dose, she's gonna probably have to learn through trial and error and collecting data what kind of foods feel best and also how much of them. And when you've struggled with not being able to trust your own intuition for so long, it might actually take a lot of time to like rework that muscle. So Ginger, try to be kind with yourself. This is definitely going to be a journey.
So I've had a bit of a crazy weekend with lots of friends in town, lots of drinking, lots of eating, and I almost forgot to give myself my shot. It's my last dose of the 0.5. Next week I'll be up at the 1 milligram. But I'm down 5 pounds officially. It's a little less than 1 pound a week. It has allowed me to not overeat. I am getting a little bit of indigestion, and of course the diarrhea is still there. But overall, like, I'm shocked, but I have definitely lost at least an inch everywhere, which is, in my opinion, really awesome. 2.5 inches on the waist, actually, and 2 inches in the hips.
Okay, so this is amazing, right? And I get the sense that Ginger might be a little bit disappointed that she hasn't lost more weight and surprised that she's lost inches instead. But this is actually generally a good thing because it means that our body composition is changing favorably. And it's really the fat loss and not the weight or BMI that matters when it comes to good health. That said, it's highly unlikely that we would gain significant amounts of muscle mass in just a few weeks when we're just doing our usual moderate exercise. The more likely reason in this scenario for the inch loss, but less like weight loss, is basically just fluid shifts from the diarrhea and the hormone shifts, either from the insulin suppression or maybe menstruation or both. That said, I think this is a perfect pace for safe and sustainable weight loss. I mean, the biggest risk that we see with rapid weight loss on Ozempic is muscle loss. Like it can be up to 39% muscle, which ultimately we don't want. So I know that Ginger's gonna be moving up to the 1 milligram. So the weight loss pace might actually pick up a little bit. And if it does, we definitely wanna focus really intently on having small, frequent protein-rich meals to support muscle protein synthesis and to help curb some of those side effects. All right, guys, let's bring on Ginger. Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. First things first. Okay, coffee. Yeah. Cheers. But where's your water? Where's your water, girl?
Oh,
I'm gonna be on you. Where's your water?
I know. I'm sorry.
Ginger. What? You should. I mean, I know I can't talk. I should also be having my water, but I'm asking because I'm thinking in my head, I'm thirsty. I should probably grab my water. I've started this new thing where, not unlike with alcohol, I try to have a sip of water between sips of coffee to keep myself hydrated.
Oh, smart.
So girl, you gotta get in on that. So how is the water thing going? Because I know that has been a challenge for you.
That's the biggest struggle. I would say that's probably one of the biggest struggles and probably feeding into some of the, the other issues that I've had in terms of the weight not coming off as fast as I would hope. But yes, I know I have to up the water intake, especially because I'm working out all the time and I know I'm not drinking enough water.
Totally. And so I want to give you some little quick tips. I don't know if you're doing anything like this, but there are lots of little great ways to help you encourage yourself to drink more. One, the moment you just got to make these little routines basically. So when you wake up in the morning, like as soon as you get up, you pee, you drink a whole glass of water. And in fact, every time you go pee, if you're getting up from your office, you're going to the washroom, I want that to be your cue for having a glass of water. Okay. Before you go to tennis, have a glass of water. We think about always like having sips during exercise, but I actually want you to try to make that as well. I'm gonna hydrate before I get on the court, especially because, things are not always going so well once we get into our exercise. So that's a really key one. Do you have any of those like big water jugs? Because that seems to work for a lot of folks too.
I have a 4-liter one, and maybe that was just like, but maybe that was too ambitious.
Too much. It's too ambitious.
It's too much.
It's a lot to lug around too. So exactly. So get a 1 liter, 2 liter even. And one thing I love to do is to put little rubber bands on it. And then each time you finish, you've refilled it, you're gonna move that rubber band down. So that's gonna keep you you're keeping a tally without having to like put anything into your phone, which let's be real, I would never personally do.
It's so exhausting to do. And you know what, like, as you know, I can go from like binge eating to super restrictive dieting. I have that. The mind that doesn't really allow me to be free when it comes time to like eat and drink and that sort of thing. And every time I get that diary going, it's such a mind bender for me. Like it's really tough. So, and then I get mad at myself if I don't put that 1 glass of water in, and I'm really trying to avoid going down that slippery slope again. So
for sure. I don't want you to have to be overthinking this. I mean, at the end of the day, things like hydration should feel intuitive, but you are in this really interesting part of your journey where you're learning your intuition all over again. And that's going to include water, and it's going to include food. So just those little like things, that just keep you motivated. Also make it flavorful, whether it's sparkling water, adding, spa water with a little lemon or cucumber, herbal tea. also counts, of course. So, you know, you make it enjoyable for yourself so that it just makes it a little more simple to get that in.
I'm such a sucker for sparkling water. So if you're saying that's a go-to, then
of course
Cal are gonna walk around.
Yeah, I know. My kids call it mama water. That's how much I love. Oh, is that mama water? Yes, it's mama water.
That's vodka, guys. That's vodka.
Yeah, exactly. We'll get to that mama water later on. Okay, so tell me, girl, how are you feeling right now, like today, or generally symptom-wise?
Okay, so the symptoms over, you know, the first 8 weeks of doing the drugs, which was, if anybody is doing it or if anybody's going to do it, it's always going to be the same approach. The 0.25 for 4 weeks, the 0.5 for 4 weeks. Then you get to the full dose at the 1 milligram, which what I'm told and what my research is the therapeutic dose for diabetes. And then the dose for weight loss is actually 2 milligrams. So I'm not there yet. I'm kind of in the middle. I've done the 0.25 and the 0.5. And my symptoms, and I understand why it's a gradual thing, because it does affect you. And it was very bizarre. Like week 1 of 0.25 and week 1 of 0.5 were very similar in that I almost didn't react at all. Like I didn't really feel anything. Week 2, I was exhausted and I had insane diarrhea. Like it was always week 2 for whatever reason. And then it would normalize by week 3 and week 4. So I'm very fortunate. Sorry, that would be my calendar invites. We're just coming through. So I was very fortunate that I didn't have a lot of the kind of some of those more extreme symptoms that some people had, like nausea. I really only the 2 biggest symptoms were exhaustion and diarrhea.
Correct.
And I will say that yesterday was my first dose of the 1 milligram, so I'm finally up to that higher dose. And while the diarrhea is still constant, which has been something I've suffered from. You know, I saw this in the comments about the diarrhea as well on the first video, but I've suffered from diarrhea for years. It's not just
you're just more sensitive, yes, and people will have where their baseline is, and then it may be well controlled in, you know, everyday life to some extent, but then any external stressor is going to exacerbate that. So that's where you're at.
So it's not really the Ozempic has made it a little bit worse in that I find, you know, I can't really control it. Like sometimes it's like all of a sudden I gotta run. It's almost like those IBS symptoms, which I've really kind of got under control. And then once I've added the Ozempic, like I was playing tennis one night and I had to like pull out of my doubles match and tag somebody in because I was running, you know, and it's just not enjoyable. So, but the first dose of the 1 milligram so far has been great. The one thing I will say with that is the exhaustion is to the next level. Like I have fallen asleep in bed with glasses on, TV full blast. I have had to take naps. Well, yesterday I had to take a nap. Today I could hardly get out of bed. So that's been something where I've been like, whoa, what is happening? That has really taken its toll on me. But no nausea, nothing crazy to report in that sense. So I think I'm really lucky here.
Yeah, I mean, you know, every transition period is going to be a new bag of tricks. So just listen to your body. Obviously, rest if you need it. Know that the fatigue and the exhaustion is not uncommon side effect, especially as you're upping those doses, and it does pass. So as your body adapts, you will get that energy back to get back into tennis, because I know it's hard.
I know I've got a tennis match tonight, and I'm just like, am I gonna
will I be awake for it? Good question.
I'm not using the medicine as an excuse, you know,
Totally.
like I'm not using this as an excuse or an out or anything. I really am trying to incorporate it to be like a positive addition to my life, which, you know, it has been actually really fantastic in the giving me cues, giving me, I don't even know if I can call it a cue. Mm-hmm. What I can say is almost like it's a disinterest. Like I don't find I'm craving the sweet so much anymore. And this has really just been the last couple of weeks, if I'm being totally honest, where I've been like, oh, no, I don't want that. Oh, no, I don't want that. Whereas in the past, I would have just done it because I was bored or eaten it because I had nothing else, I just because, it's there, I'll just eat it. But now, it was shocking. This morning is a perfect example. I had half a donut left over from yesterday. In the past, I could have probably eaten 2 donuts in a day, or that could have been my breakfast. I had half a donut left over from yesterday because I didn't eat the full thing. And even today, I didn't even eat half of it, this morning. That, to me, I'm just I'm looking at this donut being like, Ginger?
Yeah.
Is that you?
That must feel so incredibly, freeing that you're able to see food in a lot of ways as fuel, as nutrition, as energy, as serving you, rather than controlling you in a lot of ways, where you're just more prone to eat something because it's in front of you, because you're bored, because you're emotional, because X, Y, and Z, and for you to not have the constant conversation in your head of, do I not? Then you feel guilty, and then I'm going to restrict more, and that whole song and game, that is incredibly mentally freeing. What a burden to have alleviated off of yourself.
It's pretty wild. I'm not actually sure I ever thought this was possible. And to people who have that natural intuition and that I don't think you understand how lucky you are. That is something I've never had before, and I've never really been able to walk away, because I would have said, oh, it's half a donut, it'll go bad tomorrow, I gotta eat it. It's little, still trying to process that, right, if I'm being totally honest,
Wow.
But hey, here we are. This has been great. I hope it only gets better. What I hope to get, out of this experience is to learn to I'm still reaching for that donut instead of the eggs, and the fruit. So I do hope that I get to a point where I'm really trying to service my body, and I know what's better for me, but what's easier isn't always what's better. And I still am in this I gotta wake up, I gotta go to work, I gotta have my coffee, gotta do this quickly, and then I gotta get to it, so right. I know we all suffer from that.
Totally.
So yeah.
So let's talk about diet. I want to talk about diet for a minute. So you've mentioned that I know you're super busy. You're just like me, and food has to be convenient. So are there any dietary changes that you've made at this point that you feel maybe helping you make more nutritious choices? Or is it at this point, it's still kind of just essentially the same rhythm or routine that you've always had, however you just feel like you don't want to eat as much of it?
Yeah, it's still the same rhythm and routine. I find I'm not going grocery shopping and buying a big load of groceries to cook, because I'm just I'm not going to eat it. So I'm going and I'm buying a sandwich, or I'm going and buying a salad, or ordering sushi, I'm a single woman,
Yeah.
And so it's hard. I'm not cooking for a family. It's really hard, I think, to make full meals. It just goes bad. So I'm struggling with that. And that's why I love when people come over, so I can cook for them, and then I can be like, oh, I really want this, so I can have my little piece, my little portion, But yeah, that's still definitely a struggle for me. And it probably will be for a while, until I get to a point where all of a sudden I'm craving fruit and vegetables. So, and protein.
Yeah.
But it's not my first go-to, and I really I know I need to make that a priority. But right now, as I'm still kind of getting through the motions of being on this, and I bet if I ate better, I'd probably have fewer symptoms, right?
Yep.
Of the diarrhea.
And that's what I want to talk. And that's what we want to talk about, because I was watching your clips where you said that you had a night, you drank a lot, you had Chinese food, you did not feel good. And so you have that intuition that drinking a lot and having a lot of high carb, high fat, high salt foods doesn't feel good. And I'm not even on Ozempic, and I feel that way. I think it's just like part of getting old. And so this is all data. This is all data that we're collecting. So what I want you to do is to experiment with having smaller, frequent meals every few hours. And I want those meals to be focused around lower fat protein, because that's going to, of course, be really important for protecting against muscle loss as you do start to lose weight a little bit faster now that we're getting into that 1 milligram range there. And also I want to make sure that your gut is feeling its best, because we know that, you know, the higher doses, it may lead to more GI symptoms, the diarrhea, and any kind of nausea, things like that. I want you to feel energized. So cottage cheese, hard-boiled eggs. You can buy pre-hard-boiled eggs if you want to make it super easy and fast. No, you're like, okay, I can boil my own damn eggs.
Boil my eggs. I'm good.
Okay, protein powder. You know, obviously, do a big batch of like grilled chicken breasts. Cut them up, put them in the freezer. I mean, make it easy for yourself. I know you're a single person, so cooking for yourself can often feel like a really big, daunting task. But consider the food part and doing this meal prep just as important as remembering to take your shot every week.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And can I ask you a question? Because I'm actually not sure. I know we've been working together for a decade, but I still don't know all the rules. No, can you on the grilled chicken, because I love barbecue grilled chicken. Yeah. And it's summertime, and like all I want to do, if I'm eating chicken, I want it to be on the barbecue. Yeah. Can I pre-cook grilled chicken and then freeze it? Or does it have to be raw?
No, I always do. I mean, you know, cook whatever you can, as many as you can, and you could put, you know, slice it up, put it into its own little Ziploc bag in the freezer, so you've got one portion at a time. You're just pulling out what you need. It's a great way to meal prep when you're just one person. And you can do that with any other protein as well.
And then do you microwave it? Or how do you warm it up?
Microwave. Depends what you're doing. If you want to make a stir fry, throw it in frozen, stir fry it up. Of course, you just want to make sure that it's cooked, you know, hot all the way through, and you're good to go. It's a great way to save time.
Because that's a struggle of mine. Like I always, I buy the protein, I freeze it, and then I never take it out of the freezer to cook it.
I know.
So I would rather, if I'm going to the barbecue, I'd rather mass cook.
Mass cook it all, girl. Yep. That's what I want you to do. That's really what I want you to focus on this week. So next time that we talk, I want to hear that your freezer is full and you're rotating out like a meal prep master. I love it.
Okay, here it comes.
That's right.
Fire monster.
Get that barbecue.
I know people watching are going to probably be like, "Is this girl dumb?"
No. I mean, all of these. I bet you there's a lot of people who don't even have, you know, no ideas in this realm. So this is going to be really helpful for a lot of people.
Awesome.
But the last thing I want to talk to you about is, you know, emotionally and psychologically. Like, let's talk about stigma. Let's talk about, you know, now your story is kind of out there for all to see. I don't know how open you were with friends and family before deciding to go through this with me, but like, how are people responding when you tell them that you're on Ozempic, and or do you tell them?
Yeah, I am. You know, just like you are taking down diet culture, I am trying to make it a point, you know, to really tear down the stigma around, you know, obesity, around being fat, and I saw some comments on the first video about, you know, you're not healthy if you're overweight. And I'm like, actually, I'm a mover. Mm-hmm. I have really clean blood work. Like I am, if you saw this on paper, I am healthy, you know, I just carry extra weight. And I've been a dancer my whole life. Well, I mean, prior to my 20s, I'm in my late 30s now. So not anymore. It's been almost 15 years since I've danced, but you know, and I always carried a little extra weight. I was a C body type, and those, you know, you got the A body type, the B body type, and the C body type, and I was always the rounder C body type. So, so I make it a point to fully disclose that I'm taking Ozempic. I will not hide it. I will not be upset about it. I am looking for a tool to help me. It is not the be all and end all. I think I've done enough research and spoken to enough people and enough doctors within my circle and with, even my own doctors, that to know that Ozempic, they're calling it a miracle drug. They're calling it, life-changing for people who, and I just, sometimes I think people just don't understand what, some people go through. And, so in that sense, I've never had anybody say, oh my God, you're taking us. Actually, the response is being super, super positive. And so that's reassuring, and that kind of reinforces, my objective to never hide it. Yeah. And that's kind of why I wanted to do this with you in the first place, because I felt like, and I know, I'm a deep empath, and I know the guilt that comes with hiding things, and I just wanted to be very open about it, and also to relieve my own guilt. I wanted to have a safe space and to know that whether it was a community behind me or you behind me or my family behind me, knowing that what I'm doing is, at the end of the day, going to be really great for my overall health. And if what the doctors are saying is correct, that I will not get diabetes and that I will not have, heart disease, bring it on. I have been living in fear of that. And every time we go get my blood work done, and we do my blood work probably more frequently than most, given my family history. And we're always looking at the blood sugar levels. And I'm always nervous that this is going to be the year that they're going to diagnose me with diabetes. So I'm just I'm here for it. On the flip side, where it's been really fantastic it's almost like that tool or that big sister or that guardian angel. How you have the angel and the devil? It's like that little angel who's like, be careful, you don't need, you know what I mean? And in that sense, it's been so helpful. It feels like I've got this champion helping me and guide me. On the flip side, I also feel like, from a personal mental perspective, that I haven't been that 20-pound loser on that first month. Granted, I didn't start huge. I started significantly under 200 pounds. I wasn't over 200 pounds. So I have less to lose, but I'm not dropping the 20 pounds right away. I'm not dropping, a lot of people. So I find myself going to Reddit, Pinterest, Google every day to find a new answer about why I'm not losing the weight as fast, or what are other people's results been, or trying to seek somebody else who's going through the same thing as me, which can also be a bit of a mind. Are you gonna believe me? A mind bender.
Mind fuck works. Mind fuck works. Yeah, we love the bleep.
But it is a little bit of in that sense, it can be a little bit of a mind. And I'm really trying to move past it. But at the same time, I'm excited. I'm excited about the journey to come. So I feel like I'm just trying to equip myself with all the knowledge and everything that I possibly can, because I'm excited that this could be the tool to help me finally rid myself of these last 30 pounds. And also, I think it's important, just as an aside, in some of the comments as well, some people were talking about the weight gain and the weight loss first. I think it's also important to recognize that the last year of my life has been pretty
traumatic.
It's pretty traumatic. And from egg freezing to having my gallbladder removed, to having the worst possible case of RSV and followed by COVID, where, I got every single symptom, including my eyes were oozing. Yeah. That.
Yeah, it was bad.
So bad.
You did have it so bad.
So it's just been a
And your
year.
dog got attacked.
Oh yeah, and then my dog got attacked, and then he wasn't eating. Oh God, it was just wild. So I've put on 30 pounds, and I cannot seem to just, and so not moving is really detrimental to my health. I need to move. I'm not the type of person who can just has lower calorie diet and not move. I have to move. So a year of not moving has been detrimental to my health, my physical health, and so here I am. But yeah, so it's part excitement, so part wanting to equip myself with the knowledge, and I do feel like I am knowledgeable, and I do feel like I have done the research, and I'm not going at this blindly, and I know what to expect. So I'm I just do find that, similarly to what I said about picking up the app and doing the thing, there's always something when you have a disordered eating habit that is going to come up inside you no matter what you're doing. So I find that I am definitely veering on that side of the OCD, like obsessive part of it.
And of course, you're very invested in this process. This is like, you know, this is a big step for you. And, you know, it'd be the same for most people taking any new medication that is significantly going to change their life. Of course, people are going to be interested in every symptom. Is this normal? Is this not? I don't want you to to over pathologize yourself for that, because I think that's all part and parcel with this experience. And I'm also so grateful that you're sharing this, your journey to help destigmatize weight loss medications and anti-diabetes medications, because, you know, I think when the sentiment online is you just should have worked harder and dieted harder or exercised more, you lazy fat, then that really sets people back. That's actually not helpful at all. There are a lot of people we know for whom just moving more and eating less is not going to significantly move the needle. And that may be because of their thought patterns, those behaviors, those really deeply ingrained behaviors, childhood trauma. It's all worked in there. It's not as simple as just, you should have done more. So I'm really grateful that you've shared this journey. I know everyone's just going to be following along, cheering you on. Guys, please cheer her on. We all really should be so excited about this and so supportive, you know, for all the folks out there who are exploring these options. So guys, leave some happy, supportive, lovely, beautiful comments. Like I know you know how to. Please get in there. But Ginger, I'm rooting for you, and I want to see what the next month brings. Of, you know, you're at your first kind of like month of a relatively therapeutic dose, so I think this will be big. Let's see how it goes.
I'm super excited, Abby.
Amazing. All right, Ginger, good luck.
Thank you.
I will see you soon.
Okay.
Bye. Well, folks, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it the thumbs up. Give Ginger some love in the comments. If you've got some questions that you want me to cover on our next episode, let me know below. And I'll see you next time on Abby's Kitchen. Bye.